Okay, welcome to our prong fitting video. Fozzie is going to be my model. Good boy. It's very easy to see how to fit a prong properly on him. You will either have a prong with 2.25 size links for larger dogs like this, or if you have a small dog, you'll have a micro prong. This is a Hermspringer prong with 2.25 sized links. This came straight out of the packaging, so you'll notice that it has a trachea plate in the center. And then we have our chain with our O-ring or our dead ring and our swivel ring or our D-ring. So the swivel ring is what attaches to our leash and the O-ring is what attaches to our safety. Now, I want to make sure that the chain is on the right side of my dog's neck. That way it will come out on my left and I'll be able to walk my dog easily on my left side without the leash having to wrap over or under their chin. So ideally, if this is my dog and their face is looking at you, then my prong comes out like this on their right side, my left side. So in order to fasten and unfasten your prong, you need to be able to unhook and hook the links. You will also need to size the prong to your dog's neck. So if this arrives and it's a little bit too snug, then you can buy links on their own and add them until you have fit the prong properly. Also, if this arrives and it's too large for your dog, then you can remove links to size it. Okay, so now this might take a little bit of practice, but in order to fasten the links, I'm going to drop these two prongs into their respective holes. What I do is I squeeze this top piece together while I simultaneously push the base up to sort of capture those prongs. So I will typically push one of the prongs against one side of the lower link, squeeze the other side in, and then I'll just drop that in like so. And then to unfasten the links, typically I stabilize the upper link and then I push the lower link down along the prong points, which helps me sort of squeeze them together, and then I just pull the top piece out. Now, if this is too tough for you to do, you can also buy a buckle clasp. That will help you to fasten and unfasten the prong much more easily than messing with the links. So Fozzie's prong is already fitted with a buckle clasp, and all I have to do to fasten it is pop the buckle together, and then to unfasten it, I open it back up. Now, this buckle clasp is not a Hermspringer buckle clasp. Those are a little bit more secure, so if you have a dog who really pulls or bolts, then I suggest getting a Hermspringer buckle clasp. Okay, so I'm going to fit Fozzie's prong collar to him because it's already fitted properly to him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the prong hang nice and loose. Make sure that it's not twisted up, because if it is twisted at all, then the action of the prong doesn't function properly. So I'm going to let it hang loose. I'm going to make sure that this chain isn't twisted up. I'm going to let the chain hang near my left hand so that it goes on my dog's right hand side of their neck. So I'm holding my prong like this. The chain goes on my left side, Fozzie's right side, and then I clasp the prong together at the top of his neck behind his ears. I want the prong to fit nice and high on the neck, under the chin, and behind the ears. This allows me to give really nuanced directional guidance to Fozzie, and it allows me to turn his head. If the prong were to be low around his shoulders, that doesn't allow me to control the direction of his head very well. So, hello. So I want it to fit nice and high on his neck. Now his flat collar can fit low on his neck, and if he wears an e-collar, that will sit in the middle of these two collars. So now that I have my prong fastened, I'm going to attach my safety. This is super important because if my prong were to fail or the links were to pop open, this ensures that I'm still attached to Fozzie via the leash and his flat collar. This is my safety. You can buy them on Amazon. You can get really nice biothane ones. You can also use a carabiner, but essentially what we need our safety to do is attach to the O-ring or the dead ring on the prong collar. I'm going to make sure that my D-ring goes to my leash and that the O-ring is flush with Fozzie's neck. So I don't want these to get twisted, and I don't want my safety to cross over or in front of the D-ring because now my leash doesn't work properly. So we need to make sure that the D-ring goes up towards Fozzie's chin like that. The O-ring goes down towards Fozzie's flat collar like that. And now I'm going to attach my safety to the O-ring, and I'm going to attach the other end of it to the dead ring on Fozzie's flat collar. Now, let's say that my leash is here and that's working properly and nice and loose. If Fozzie's prong were to fail, so if it were to come apart, I'm still attached to him. So super important to always use the safety with a prong collar. I never want to just walk a dog on a prong that's not attached to his flat collar in some way. Oh, that's very nice. You're being a very good model. So I'm going to put Fozzie's prong collar back on, slide it under his chin, up behind the ears, fasten at the top. I'm going to grab my safety, make sure that my chain isn't twisted, attach the safety to the flat collar, and then my leash to my swivel ring. And Fozzie is all set and ready to go. That's because he's a very good boy. All right, so that is how to fit and fasten your prong. Again, we only want to use Hermspringer prongs. Those are the highest quality prongs on the market. And always, always, always use the safety when you walk your dog on a prong. All right, let's get going with our leash skills.